Hello and welcome to the Nothing again. It's now 2022, and on today's date, February 3rd, it is time for our new annual Who Did I Vote For in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame fan ballot this year? As you saw earlier today, I published the one I made last year, although I forgot to edit it till yesterday night, so you have to apologize. So I apologize for that. So it was a year late. And at least you got it all at once that way. So, like the last video, I'm going to do it the way I did it last time. I'm going to go through the list, make the case for each person, and then I'll announce the 5 I voted for, and then we'll get to the what about the other options about the list of options. What's their futures if they do not get in on this ballot? So let's begin right at the top right now, and at the current lead of the fan ballot, Pat Benatar. Now, actually, Pat Benatar would not be going in on her own. All of Pat Benatar's previous nomination in 2020 actually also includes her husband, who was her guitarist as well. But I don't really think I need to make the case for Pat Benatar, being she missed her shot last 2 years ago. So let's do it justice this time and get her in. But I think I can make the case just by saying song titles. Heartbreaker. Hit me with your best shot. We Belong, and Love is a Battlefield. I think that's the argument I only need to make. But we can also argue that a lot of people, like Pink and Lady Gaga to some degree, have also they've been inspired by the videos they saw on MTV of her music, stuff like that. And her fashion sense was very popular at the time. Until Madonna took over, but hey, she's already in, so nothing we can do about that there. And then next up, we have a first-timer, Dolly Parton. And yes, you're about to make the argument. Dolly Parton's a country artist. Why is she on the ballot? Well, Johnny Cash is in. He was mainly a country artist. I mean, sure, he started as more rockabilly, but hey, he's a country artist officially. But she did have her rock moments. You can look at songs like 9 to 5 from 1980. And she is an American icon. So the vote is there, will be there for her already. Probably a first time ballot and first in. But we'll also quickly go over some of her other singles of note. Jolene, of course. I Will Always Love You. Yes, Whitney Houston did not record it first. It was Dolly Parton's song first. And then we can also go over her movie career. Quite a few hit movies. 9 to 5. We can also go over her longtime success in the music industry, over 50 years, starting way back in 1967. And pretty much every album she's ever released in her lifetime has been considerably successful. That's a very rare statement to say in an era where a musician can be here and gone with one hit, and that says a lot that she's held up this long. And next up, we have another new first-timer, Duran Duran, who's currently sitting at third, but please be aware, this numbers are going to change in locations. So, Duran Duran, not one of my favorites, but I mean, we have gotten in some of the early glam rock at this point, and it's heavy early synthesizer groups, including Kraftwerk. So, maybe the argument can be made for them now. Their peak mainly came in the 1980s and early 90s with MTV, but I think we can argue that once in a while we can't get away without hearing Hungry Like the Wolf, or even Rio. Or we can get to the Bond theme they did, and the only Bond theme to have ever hit number 1 on Billboard, A View to a Kill. I mean, that could be the case on its own, but arguably you could say they've influenced some modern music, you can argue it. Synthesizers everywhere now, and even the drum sounds they used to use has become a bit of a sampled classic. And then we get Eminem. I don't know if I need to make the case for Eminem, but I have personal bias. because he was one of my favorite artists when I was super young. And let me just address it again. We addressed it with Dolly Parton, but this time I gotta address for rap. He's a rapper. They don't belong in the rock hall. Well, rap is already in. Grandmaster Five's in. LL Cool J's in. Jay-Z's in. So, rap is valid. And I don't think I need to make the case, but I'm going to try to do this in rap. And this may be bad. But Eminem's career has been so long that some Shady came out over 25 years ago, and Lose Yourself is a rap classic, and yeah, what's that? That just didn't work. But yeah, as I got through there, I think those would be his big selling case. And Lose Yourself was the first rap Grammy #1 for Best Original Song. So we can look at Tina Turner, for example. She had the first #1 Billboard hit for a woman over 45 or something like 40, 45. So that could be ballot. But I see Eminem being first ballot. So, and then #5 we have Eurythmics, pop group from the 80s. This is their second or third time on the ballot. You probably would best know them for Sweet Dreams Are Made of These, or maybe even Here Comes the Rain Again. And actually, I own one of their albums. I don't have it out right now, so I can't show you, but I own the one with Sweet Dreams on it. We'll come back to what I think about it, but what I think about their chances, but I don't know if they're going to make it this year either. And then we have another first-timer, Lionel Richie. I mean, his case is very long, but I'm going to exclude the Commodores because it's obviously his solo career. So his solo career officially starts in 1982, although he did a single with, I think it's Diana Ross in 1980. But, his album, Can't Slow Down, was one of the biggest selling albums of 1982. I own that album too. I don't have it out right now. I apologize. Hello, All Night Long is our classics, and you can get into the later '80s with some stuff that was they wrote and is classics as well. I, however, feel this would not be the year. I would rather they put the Commodores in first, the group he was originally in, then put him in under Lionel Richie. And then next up we have, I predicted it in my video last year apparently, Judas Priest. Arguably, I think the case can be made. I'm going to just use my argument from Iron Maiden last year. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is infamous for not having the original groups that started heavy metal and punk and stuff like that. So it's like, come on, let's get it right this time. So let's put Judas Priest in under that argument. Let's just get it right. But I mean, the argument is they've been around for 50-some years, yes. But the argument is most people only know them for a couple songs, you know. So it's like, is there enough case, right? Because they've been on the ballot a few times already, and they still haven't made it. And neither has Iron Maiden, so is it going to be unlucky, or is it just going to be, you know, once, or just going to be an off year? But we'll see. And then next up, we have another first-timer, Carly Simon, a singer-songwriter from the 1970s and 80s. We have another Bond theme singer here. Nobody Does It Better from The Spy Who Loves Me. But her career is, I would say it's pretty long-standing, and most people probably still know her today for You're So Vain. Or maybe even Anticipation. I also own that album of hers, Anticipation. I should have gotten it out. I apologize, at least you could have had something to look at. But hey, stuff happens. So, yes, I would say she should be in. But we'll come back to where I think it's actually going to land. And then we have Rage Against the Machine, a bringback from last year again. Again, I'm going to just use the same argument. Last year, they're from the 90s. We have some other 90s coming up, and I don't know if they're going to make it this year either. I mean, will they be in? Yes, eventually, but not right now. And then we have Devo, who's back again. Again, only being known for Whip It kind of hurts their chances, and I'm going to borrow it from last video too. That being only known for one song kind of kills their chances. and we'll address further as we go along what I think they might be. And then we got Dionne Warwick back on the ballot again from last year. I do think she has a case for the Rock Hall, but I don't think this is going to be the year for her. She is going up against a very hard class this year, and I don't think she's going to get this shot. And then we have the other rap group on here this time around, and they've come back again. A Tribe Called Quest. They were big in the 90s. I really don't think they're going to make it this year. I think maybe they'll need to wait a few years on the ballot. And then Kate Bush is back on the ballot again. From my video last year, I'm just gonna copy it. Her stock has been improving over the years, so it may be possible for her to get in, but it's probably not gonna be this year. I think she's gonna need to be like Quest, Tribe Called Quest, and Priest, perhaps that maybe she's gonna need there's gonna need to be a real off year of people on the ballot, and that's the only way she'll be put in. Again, her career is problematic here in the United States because she never came here that much to promote it. She was more of a European artist. And then we have another bring back from the last couple of years, the New York Dolls. Same argument with Judas Priest. We're missing the founders of many rock music genres. And I said in the last video it was glam. It was punk for the New York Dolls. Glam, rock, punk mix they were. I don't know if they're going to make it again. I really think we'll get to what I think they should actually go into at this point. But we'll get to it. And then we have Beck, first-timer from the 90s and early 2000s. I would say probably going to make it. Beck has been well known for being an avant-garde and defying the boundaries of what rock was in the 90s and the 2000s. So I think his case is going to be there. We did put Todd Rundgren in, who was known for that last year. So there's your case for Beck. And then we have MC5 back on the ballot again. They're mostly known for recording protest songs, which other artists eventually were inspired by. So their case is kind of that's the case, and it's kind of is it really worth trying to put them in kind of case. And then we have Fela Kuti back on the ballot again, the pioneer of Afrobeat. Again, I'm going to also copy myself from last video. I think his case is more of early influence, but I'll address that further right now. But at first, let me tell you my top 5 picks. I voted for Pat Benatar, Dolly Parton, Eminem, Judas Priest, and Carly Simon. But if any of those on the list do not make it this year, what do I think their options are? Okay. Pat Benatar. If she doesn't make it in this year, which would be a damn shame, I think keep her on the ballot. She is there. She's leading right now. I mean, that might change. But she is leading right now on the fan ballot. I think her time will be this year. But if she doesn't make it, leave her on the ballot for next year, and she'll probably get in then. Dolly Parton, I would think she's going to be first ballot. So I think she'll make the cut. But if she doesn't make the cut this year for some reason, just leave her on the ballot. She'll get in that way. Or if it takes a few years, put her on early influence, musical excellence, perhaps. Or even Art Eninem Award, maybe. She'll get that way. Duran Duran's case, probably going to make it first ballot, the way it looks right now. Again, this is in February of 2022. This is way too early to know. I would argue Duran Duran, keep them on the ballot for a few years. They're already in the top 3 here today, so that probably implies that they could at least be on the ballot for a couple years. So I'm going to say leave them on the ballot, and then if it gets to the point of where they're been stuck on the ballot and they're not getting in, then start to consider maybe musical excellence, maybe. Or if not, take them off the ballot for a year or 2 and then put them back on. And then we got Eminem, probably a first-time ballot and first time in. So I doubt it. If not, just leave him on the ballot. He'll get in next year, probably. Eurythmics have been on the ballot a few times. Right now they're in the top 5. Not by much. But I would argue Eurythmics is probably just keep them on the ballot. They'll get in. Probably. For a couple years. And then if not, move them into early influence. Maybe. Lionel Richie's only on the ballot the first time on his own. You already know my opinion. I'd rather the Commodores going first than him on his own. So I would rather they put the Commodores on the ballot with Lionel Richie or put the two of them together and just put them in that way. Would be great. But Lionel Richie, I do think might get in a couple years, but just leave him on the ballot. I think that's the way it's going to be for him. Judas Priest and Iron Maiden, same. I'll take it from the video last year. I believe the same thing, leave them on the ballot, rotate them, see if eventually the off year, and that's when they get in, or if they eventually just get in a weak draft class that year. Carly Simon, same thing with Carole King. We'll just leave her on the ballot a couple years. She'll get in under that era eventually. Rage Against the Machine, leave them on the ballot. They'll get in eventually. Their stock has been rising for years. They have a shot. Devo, I'm also going to copy myself from last year. Leave them on the ballot, but they may need an off year in the nominee class in order to get in. If not, consider early influence, perhaps, for them, or even musical excellence, maybe. Dionne Warwick, again, leave on the ballot. Her stock was rising even in last year when she first got on, and even this year it looks like it's rising a little bit. Just leave her on the ballot for a few years, and then if not, move her to early excellence, or musical excellence, or early pioneers, early influences. Excuse me. Tribe Called Quest, just leave them on the ballot. They'll probably get in eventually. It may take 4, 5, 6 years, and then if not, maybe move them to musical excellence, early influence, because of how rap kind of works. Each rapper built off each other. Kate Bush, just leave her on the ballot. Her stock has been growing over the years. She could have a huge jump in an off year. Maybe she could get in. If not, consider moving her to musical excellence, early influence. A lot of people said they've been inspired by Kate Bush, so there's your argument there. New York Dolls, again, keep them on the ballot. There's a chance in an off year. Eventually we'll get it right kind of option. They're the kind of we'll get it right option eventually. If not, move them to early influence. I think that would definitely be a fair vote for them. Probably, most likely. Beck, just leave on the ballot. He'll get his chance. It's just this year. It's just been a tight class, so in an off year, maybe next year, he'll get it that way. MC5, I actually think if they don't get any higher this year than where they're at right now, move them to early influence and just move on, because MC5 is one of those weird groups that just they've been on the ballot 4 times already, and it's just you're not going anywhere. Just put yourself as an early influence, and let's just get it out of the way. Get them off the ballot so we can put someone else. Fela Kuti, keep him on the ballot. He did well last year. Maybe he could get some boost this year. If it's better timed, maybe, near the end, because the ballot can change. Because right now, Fela Kuti's last. That doesn't mean in the next 3 months, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 5 weeks, that he could jump to number 4, 2, 7. So it's... But that's just something to consider. So anyway, that was my opinions and my votes for the draft for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominee class of 2022. I will, once we have the once the results are announced, I will come back, and I will film a part 2, like you saw, like you heard in the first one, where I filmed it, where I had filmed it separately, then put it together in editing. From here on out, the series is going to work more like 2-parters. You'll get my votes near the start of the year. near the start of the balloting, and then the results at the end, if in May, when the results are generally announced. And then that way we'll also know who got our musical excellence, the Armageddon Award, early influence, and so on. And with that, I thank you for watching, and live long and rock.